Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air. 18 days to the election. Kamala Harris taking aim at Donald Trump tonight. Amid reports of exhaustion, Trump now firing back. Both are in Michigan.
David Muir has left ABC News, and it's a huge shock. He's been the face of the evening news since 2003, leading it to be the most watched in the country. As people switch to getting news from their phones and computers, TV news isn't as popular as before. Could this big change be why he left? What does this mean for our nightly news? Let us uncover the real reasons behind David Muir's shocking departure. David Muir's unexpected farewell. His departure also raises questions about where he's going next. Is he done with traditional TV news, or is he planning something new? In today's media world, there are so many options beyond just working for a TV network. He could move to another network, start his own media project, or even try something like podcasting or creating content for digital platforms. With his experience and reputation, he has the freedom to explore a lot of different paths. But then a rumor emerged, suggesting a scandal that might change everything. His leaving ABC is also a cultural moment. For years, he has been the person many people turn to when something important happens in the world. Whether it was a major election, a natural disaster, or a global crisis, he was often the face on the screen delivering the news. His calm and steady approach to reporting helped people feel informed and reassured during tough times. His departure might leave some viewers feeling like they've lost a trusted guide through the news of the world. But this wasn't the worst part. His decision to move on might also inspire other journalists to look beyond the traditional path of staying with a big TV network. With so many new ways to share stories, many journalists may feel that they no longer need to be tied to one network to have influence. In today's world, platforms like podcasts, social media, and independent news sites give journalists more control over how they tell stories and connect with their audiences. His choice to leave ABC could encourage others to take similar steps and explore new possibilities. What makes his departure especially significant is how it reflects the larger changes in the media world. The way people consume news is evolving rapidly. While some people still prefer watching the news on TV, many others, especially younger generations, get their information from digital sources. This shift means that networks like ABC have to adapt if they want to stay relevant. The days when one anchor could dominate the news landscape for decades might be fading away as new technologies and viewer habits reshape the industry. David Muir's next step could change news forever. What's next for David Muir? For David Muir, leaving ABC is likely just the beginning of a new chapter. He has so many options ahead of him. Whether he stays in traditional journalism or moves to something new like digital media or even creating his own platform, he has built a strong reputation that will follow him wherever he goes. His departure might seem like a loss now, but it could also mark the start of something bigger, both for him and for the news industry as a whole. For many years, people turned to a single news anchor to summarize the day's most important events. This person became a trusted source of information, creating a sense of comfort and dependability. But in recent times, this approach seems to be losing its appeal as more options become available. His decision to step away highlights the ongoing change in the role of traditional news anchors and how relevant they are today. Younger audiences are largely behind this shift. Many people in younger generations find traditional news formats to be a bit outdated. Sitting down in front of the TV at a specific time to watch the news doesn't fit their lifestyle anymore. Instead, They prefer to get their news through social media, YouTube, podcasts, and other digital platforms that let them watch or listen whenever and however they want. These modern platforms don't just deliver the news, they offer a variety of perspectives, more casual formats, and even interaction with viewers. This approach is much more engaging than the old model of simply hearing a newscaster report the events of the day. Muir's resignation brings this gap into sharp focus, showing the growing difference between how news used to be consumed and how it's being consumed now. Muir was known for his ability to tell stories that connected emotionally with viewers. He wasn't just sharing facts, he brought the human side of the news to the forefront, making it relatable and personal for his audience. However, as times change, so do the ways of telling stories. In today's world, news isn't just delivered through words alone. It's presented through videos, interactive graphics, and social media. These newer methods offer a richer experience for the audience, allowing them to engage more deeply with the story. Muir's style, while effective in the past, may not fully align with this new era of interactive storytelling. His departure raises interesting questions about how storytelling in journalism will evolve and whether the traditional ways of doing it will continue to hold up. On top of that, Muir's choice to leave could be a response to how much the media landscape has changed. In recent years, news organizations have had to deal with a more divided audience, with different groups wanting different things from their news. Some want purely factual reporting, while others prefer commentary and opinions. This polarized environment makes it harder for traditional network news to please everyone. For someone like Muir, the structure of network broadcasting may have started to feel too confining. He might be interested in exploring new forms of journalism, ones that give him more freedom to experiment and connect with audiences in fresh ways. His resignation could be a signal that he's ready to venture into independent projects or new collaborations that are more in line with the modern world of media. Muir's move might prompt others to rethink their careers. When veteran journalists forge new paths, Muir's decision could inspire other experienced journalists to take a step back and rethink their careers. As the media continues to evolve, it's becoming clear that sticking to the old ways might not be the best choice. Many journalists may start to explore opportunities beyond traditional newsrooms, considering roles in digital storytelling, multimedia production, or even independent platforms where they can express themselves more freely. The rise of independent media and digital creators has opened up a whole new world for journalists, one where they can reach their audience directly without needing the backing of a major network. Muir's resignation could be just the beginning of a bigger trend in journalism. The changes happening in the media industry also mean that journalism education needs to evolve. Today's journalism students need more than just reporting skills. They need to understand how to engage with audiences across various platforms, including social media, video, and even podcasts. As the way people consume news changes, journalists will need to be more flexible and capable of telling stories in multiple formats. Muir's exit underscores the importance of preparing future journalists for a media landscape that is much more digital, interactive, and audience-focused than it was in the past. But this shift doesn't only affect the journalists themselves. Muir's resignation could also change how ABC and other networks think about hiring their future anchors. His departure might open the door for new voices to step in, voices that better reflect the diversity of the American population. Traditionally, news anchors have often come from similar backgrounds, which has led to a lack of variety in how the news is presented. But as the audience becomes more diverse, networks will need to find ways to bring in fresh perspectives that can resonate with a broader audience. This could lead to a new era in news broadcasting, one where the role of the anchor is less formal and more varied. The competition in the world of news is also shifting. Networks are no longer just competing with each other. Now, they also have to compete with online platforms that cater to niche audiences. These platforms often provide tailored content that speaks directly to specific groups, which makes it harder for traditional networks to keep up. Younger audiences, in particular, are drawn to this kind of personalized content, and networks may have to start experimenting with new technologies like virtual reality or interactive news to stay relevant. Muir's resignation could be a sign that these changes are coming, and networks that want to keep their viewers will need to innovate. However, Muir's departure might also have an impact on how people view journalism as a whole. Throughout his career, Muir was respected for his integrity and reliability, two qualities that stood out in a time when many people are concerned about bias and misinformation in the news. His exit may prompt a larger conversation about the role of journalism in today's society and how journalists can maintain public trust. At a time when trust in the media is shaky, it will be more important than ever for journalists to commit to core values like fairness, accuracy, and accountability. Muir's resignation could encourage the industry to rethink what it means to be a journalist today and how the profession can stay relevant and trusted as the media world continues to evolve. Muir leaving ABC could shift how we get our news. The new frontier of news. The departure of Muir from ABC marks a significant turning point in the evolving landscape of television news. Over the past 2 decades, the rise of 24/7 news channels, the proliferation of the internet, and the pervasive influence of social media have dramatically transformed the way people consume news. While traditional network news programs like World News Tonight continue to attract millions of viewers, the overall trend indicates a decline in viewership, particularly among younger audiences. This demographic shift is critical, as younger viewers are gravitating towards digital platforms where news is available on demand, bypassing the conventional format of tuning in at a specific time for the nightly broadcast. The departure might be a signal that even the most seasoned figures in the industry are aware of the need to move beyond traditional formats in order to maintain relevance in an increasingly digital age. For decades, ABC has stood as a pillar in American media, influencing both domestic and international journalism. However, the exit from this prestigious organization underscores a broader trend that has been gaining momentum for some time: the necessity for established networks to redefine their roles in a media landscape where smartphones, social media, and streaming services are becoming the primary sources of news. The conventional television broadcast model is under significant pressure from the immediacy and variety offered by digital news options, which allow consumers to access information at any time and from multiple perspectives. This paradigm shift is pushing networks like ABC to re-evaluate their approach to journalism and explore new formats that are better suited to a digital audience, one that demands more engagement, speed, and interactivity. The departure could serve as a catalyst for these changes within ABC, accelerating efforts to produce more digital-friendly content. This might lead to substantial reorganization within network newsrooms, where the traditional roles of news anchors are evolving. Historically, news anchors were seen as neutral, authoritative figures who delivered the day's most important stories in a calm and credible manner. He exemplified this role, with his reputation for being composed and trustworthy. However, today's younger viewers are looking for something different. They not only want information, but also interpretation, analysis, and personality. This trend is leading to a re-evaluation of the long-held principle of impartiality, with many digital native news outlets embracing a more distinct, often opinionated tone. ABC might follow suit after the departure, allowing their anchors to bring more of their personality into the broadcast, thereby resonating more with an audience that values authenticity and relatability. Another area impacted by the exit could be the focus on international reporting. During his tenure, ABC was known for its extensive global coverage, with reports from war zones, disaster-stricken areas, and political crises around the world. However, as the media landscape shifts, there is a growing question about whether traditional networks will continue to invest heavily in international coverage. With the increasing demand for content that feels immediately relevant to domestic audiences, ABC might recalibrate its news coverage, focusing more on stories that resonate directly with American viewers. At the same time, the decline in trust towards mainstream media, fueled by the rise of accusations about fake news and increasing public skepticism, is leading many consumers to seek alternative news sources, including independent content creators and niche platforms. This dynamic forces traditional networks to rethink how they build and maintain trust, which may no longer be rooted solely in the ideal of media neutrality, but rather in transparency, engagement, and a willingness to connect directly with their audience. With big changes ahead, ABC must decide how to keep our trust. The digital shift in news consumption. In response to these challenges, ABC may need to innovate in how it approaches the issue of trust. Muir exit could prompt the network to consider new strategies for rebuilding and strengthening public trust. One possible approach could be the adoption of more interactive formats that allow viewers to engage directly with journalists, ask questions, and participate in discussions. Another potential strategy might involve increasing transparency in the reporting process, ensuring that viewers understand how stories are verified and what standards are applied. Additionally, the shift from television to digital platforms highlights the growing importance of data analytics in shaping news strategies. Unlike traditional broadcast ratings, which provide only general insights into audience behavior, digital content consumption offers real-time data on viewer habits. Networks can now track which topics are resonating with audiences, how long they stay engaged with content, and what additional information they seek. This wealth of data presents a significant opportunity for ABC to refine its content strategy in the post-M era. By leveraging data-driven approaches, ABC could tailor its news content to better meet the needs and preferences of its audience. Predictive analytics could be used to anticipate viewer interests, helping to select stories that are likely to engage a broader audience. This approach could lead to a revolution in the way news is curated, moving away from purely editorial decisions and incorporating data insights that reflect real-time audience preferences. Furthermore, the relationship between traditional TV news and streaming services is another critical factor to consider in light of Muir departure. As more people turn to streaming platforms for their news consumption, traditional networks are increasingly launching their own streaming services or partnering with existing platforms to distribute their content. The future of television news, especially with David Muir leaving ABC, is likely to change quite a bit. Muir was a key figure in ABC News, and his departure represents a significant moment for the network. But this isn't just about finding someone to replace him. ABC, like many traditional news networks, is at a turning point. The world of news has been shifting for years, especially as more people turn to the internet for information. ABC now has a big decision to make. How will it adapt to a digital-first world where news is consumed on phones and laptops rather than on TV at a set time? The steps ABC takes now will shape its role in this constantly changing news landscape. Although Muir's departure signals the end of one chapter, it also opens the door to something new, a chance for ABC to rethink and reshape how it delivers news in the digital age. For years, fewer people have been tuning in to traditional television news, especially younger generations. Most people no longer wait for the evening news to catch up on the day's events. Instead, they expect updates instantly as soon as something happens. Smartphones, tablets, and computers make it easy to stay connected all day long. ABC and networks like it need to respond to this change. Replacing Muir is important, but simply putting another trusted face behind the anchor desk won't solve the bigger issue. How can ABC reach people who are increasingly turning to social media and other online platforms for their news? A big challenge for ABC is how to keep viewers' trust in this age of digital information. Trust in traditional news has been dropping for a while, partly due to the rise of fake news and the way politics have divided people. Even though Muir was seen as a reliable source, his departure means ABC must now figure out how to maintain that trust. People today are more skeptical of the media than they used to be, so ABC needs to take extra steps to show they are transparent in their reporting. If the network can prove that its stories are thoroughly researched and unbiased, it will go a long way in reassuring viewers that they can rely on ABC for accurate information. But this wasn't the hardest part. The real challenge is that ABC must also rethink the role of its anchors. David Muir wasn't just another newsreader. He was seen as a calm and trusted presence in people's living rooms. Now that he's leaving, ABC has a chance to rethink what it means to be a news anchor in the digital age. Instead of relying on just one person, the network could consider using a team of anchors or experts from different fields to offer more diverse perspectives. After all, in today's world, viewers aren't just looking for someone to deliver the news. They want more context, deeper understanding, and different voices that reflect the complexity of the issues. What do you think? Should ABC stick to a single anchor or embrace a team for a more diverse perspective? Share your thoughts in the comments, like, and don't forget to subscribe